Honestly didn't think it was going to happen this quick. I do agree with Dallas. In my opinion, Dallas should trade everyone that's like 27 years old or older. Trade Kyrie, trade AD, trade everyone, and build around Cooper Flagg. I didn't think we'd hear about it this soon, but there's already rumblings of Anthony Davis possibly being traded. But as it says right here, the trade talks hinge on his 275 million. I can't even say it. $275 million contract extension. Just insane money. Mavericks seem ready to move on, but one thing holding it back is the financial decision ahead of them. Or rather, they're looking ahead and seeing, all right, Anthony Davis is going to be due for a 4-year max contract worth $275 million. Right down here, it's going to be August 6th. That's when he's eligible for that contract extension. He'll be 32 at that time still. And, people are thinking, I would agree with this as well. I don't really want to sign Anthony Davis to a 4-year max contract extension, especially with how his health has been looking lately. I wish AD the best, but, as a business move, as an investment, I don't think Anthony Davis is worth a 4-year max contract, to be honest. 60, 120, 180, 240. That's over $60 million a year. And I just don't think AD's worth that money, to be totally honest with you guys. But it says here, Mavericks are entering a reset around number one overall pick, Cooper Flagg, and Dallas is hoping to field a younger, cheaper roster, allowing the franchise to duck under the NBA's second apron and avoid the harsh financial penalties that come with operating it. We know to the Dumont family, Patrick Dumont, we know that Mavericks ownership is all about making money. Of course, they're trying to avoid the second apron. That's why they traded Luka Doncic to begin with. The Luka trade was all about money. It was not about basketball at all. And then they proceed to trash Luka Doncic. I don't love Luka. I think he does cry a lot. I don't think his work ethic is necessarily the best. But with that being said, that trade had nothing to do with basketball. Then Dallas proceeds to try to trash his character and everything. And I thought that was just really a shitty move. But anyway, AD's averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds when healthy this season. Tim Bontemps, if I said that right, from ESPN, reports there is skepticism around the NBA that a robust trade market will develop around Anthony Davis in the weeks ahead. Of course, that's based on the injury problems, and that's also based on this contract coming up. They kind of all go together. But there have been some trade destinations, some possible suitors for Anthony Davis, some Eastern Conference teams they're talking about. I'll say first, just from my point of view, regardless of I know there's a way they could probably make it happen, but I think my best team for AD to go to, the best fit, would be the San Antonio Spurs. I am a Spurs fan personally. I don't think we want to pay him the max contract. I don't think he's worth all that money. But if you're able to pair up Anthony Davis with Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox would probably be in that package to make the money work out. But if you were able to pair him up with Victor Wembanyama, I think the Spurs would be in great shape to compete at least these next 3 seasons until AD is about 35 years old. Maybe longer, maybe shorter, just depending on how healthy Anthony Davis could possibly stay. But as far as the fit would go, that would be nuts. You have Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, all these shooters out there. You'd have two big men in Anthony Davis and Victor Wembanyama. They can defend at an elite level. They can both handle the ball. They can be the ball handler in pick and rolls. They can be the roll man in pick and rolls. They can both pop and pick and pops. Just two big men that can do everything. The defensive fit will be so stupid because Wembanyama, he's a great shot blocker. He's the best defender in the NBA. But Anthony Davis is a better one-on-one post defender than Victor Wembanyama. He could guard some of those more physical big men when Wemby's trying to save some room for the rather save some energy for the offensive end, or if Wemby's in foul trouble and he doesn't want to be guarding those more physical big men, Nikola Jokic, Şengün, those types of guys down low. And then offensively, it would just be amazing. AD could help stretch out the floor. Wemby can help stretch the floor. It would just be an incredible pairing if he was able to go to San Antonio. Again, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not saying that because I'm a Spurs fan. I truly think that might be the best fit for Anthony Davis if he was able to make his way to the Spurs. But with that being said, I don't think he's worth the 4 years, $275 million. He sure as shit is not worth $60 million a year. Not to be mean, but that just is what it is at this point with Anthony Davis's health and just with the overall NBA market. He returned from the calf strain. Calf strains are scary as well. Wemby has the same thing. Wemby's getting ready to come back pretty soon here, but I hate to even talk about it, but the calf strains kind of links to the Achilles injuries, and no one likes to hear the word calf strain in the NBA. This article is saying the Detroit Pistons, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Toronto Raptors would be three other good trade destinations for Anthony Davis. I think he'd fit great. He'd be great on the Pistons. Pair him up with Cade Cunningham. Have him next to Jalen Duren. They'd be insane on the glass. They'd be insane defensively with Anthony Davis and Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren's more of a pick and roll player. He wants to play in the paint and just get all of his stuff down low. Where Anthony Davis would be a good pair up because Anthony Davis wants to be more on the perimeter. So those two guys would complement each other very well. Atlanta Hawks were rumored in there as well. They probably the Mavericks would probably want to get Kristaps Porzingis back in that trade if they did make that happen. And then things are so weird with the Hawks. I personally would want them to get rid of Trae Young. So if Anthony Davis went over there, he'd fit very well with Jalen Johnson and all the other players they have there in Atlanta. And if they got rid of Kristaps and brought Anthony Davis in, they'd be a legit. They'd probably be the favorites to come out of the East, to be totally honest, if they added Anthony Davis. And then Toronto Raptors are another destination. I think I guess it depends on what Toronto would give up. I heard Emmanuel quickly would be in the package. I'd want to keep Emmanuel if I could, but I mean, pairing the defense would be ridiculous. Scotty Barnes playing with Anthony Davis defensively. If they could keep Emmanuel quickly, he'd probably be part of the package, and they'd move Shed. They'd move Shed to the point guard position. They have Colin Murray Boyles as well. Their rookie is a really good defender and a really promising player. I think Anthony Davis, I think he'd fit very well with the Pistons, the Hawks, and the Raptors. But again, I think San Antonio will be the best fit for Anthony Davis. San Antonio has been in the trade rumors with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Doesn't look like San Antonio is going to make that trade happen. Milwaukee asked for, they can't have either one of these guys, but they asked for Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. We just basically hung up the phone, laughed in their face, and said, call us back with the trade package you want, and you can't have Harper's name or Stephon Castle's name in there because those guys are basically untouchable for San Antonio, and Spurs fans feel the same way about those two players. But it just depends on, I guess, what Anthony Davis can accept financially if he's down to take less money to possibly contend for a championship on another team. But Pistons, Hawks, Raptors, I would like him on all of those teams. If he came to the Spurs, I think he'd be a great fit. Maybe, I wouldn't say Houston. I don't think he can even make that work money-wise. But if he paired up with Kevin Durant, Şengün, Amen Thompson over there, I mean, there's a lot of places where Anthony Davis would fit. There's a lot of teams that he would help out playing for. It just depends on how things are going to look with his money situation. If a team, I don't think any team is going to want to pay him 4 years, $275. We can just throw that off the table. But it depends on, what team sees value in him, what that value is, whether he's worth, I don't know, 40 million a year, 45 million a year. He's probably around like 45, 50 million a year. I think that's probably his value. But the contract extension would be 4 years for 275 million. Again, like I said earlier, that's over $60 million a year. And I like Anthony Davis a lot, but he's just not worth that kind of money with his injury risks and with his age at this point. But there's a destination for him out there. I'm excited to see if Dallas can make this trade happen before the trade deadline, because that would be really exciting. I always love to see superstar players go to a different destination, just make things more exciting during the trade deadline. So again, there's a lot of teams that would love to have Anthony Davis. There's a lot of teams that he would make much better. Whatever team's able to get him, whether it's the Eastern or Western Conference, I feel like that team will immediately get pushed up into, at least the favorite to make the Western Conference Finals or the favorite to make the Eastern Conference Finals. I think AD has a lot of great basketball left, and he can really help out whatever team he ends up going to. But please like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 7 million subscribers. Let me know what you think about Anthony Davis and what team he would fit well on, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.